In a push to combat COVID-19, Missouri Southern and the state of Missouri announced incentive programs to get more people to get the shot. I'm Zach Dodge with the story.
A local OB/GYN talks about whether it's safe for pregnant women to get a COVID-19 vaccine. A judge temporarily halts a near-total abortion ban in Arkansas.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
Missouri Governor Mike Parson announces a new vaccine incentive program. This is KOAM News at 6. Missouri's vaccination rate sits at around 40%, among the lowest in the country, as the Delta variant causes spikes in cases as high as in January. Well, now more organizations and the governor have rolled out incentives to get more Missourians vaccinated. KOAM's Zach Dodge has details.
Mount Vernon native Lacey Stokes is choosing to look at the positives.
I'm excited for basketball mostly.
She's about to start her first year at Missouri Southern as a dental hygiene major and basketball player.
I'm hoping to actually get to play all of our games without, worrying about getting quarantined.
Have you been vaccinated?
I have not been vaccinated, no.
With classes starting in less than a month and cases in the area on the rise.
As of right now, we're averaging about 35 cases per day.
The university is trying to get more people like Stokes to roll up their sleeves.
With the resurgence of the COVID activity around us, we feel it's necessary to offer an incentive.
The university's new vaccine incentive program will give 2 vaccinated employees 250 Lion Bucks every week, and after 4 weeks, 1 employee will win $2,500. They're also working on incentives for students.
Anything we can do to further encourage them to get vaccinated, we feel is a necessary effort on our part.
The Missouri VIP campaign will give vaccinated Missourians a shot at winning $10,000.
Missouri Governor Parson also announcing a vaccine incentive program. Between July 13th and October 8th, 900 Missourians who have or will get vaccinated will win $10,000 each. Parson hoping it will help educate residents about the importance of getting vaccinated.
The ones that really are maybe on the bubble, maybe the ones that are trying to figure out, do I or do I not? We want to encourage them to take that vaccine.
The biggest question, though, will the incentives actually do what officials hope?
I hope that, time will tell.
In Joplin, Zach Dodge, KOAM News.
The governor also announced that local health department will have funds to give up to $25 to each vaccine recipient, up to a total of $11 million. We have more information on the state's vaccine incentive on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Some women who are pregnant or recently gave birth have expressed concerns about how getting the COVID-19 vaccine might affect them or their baby. Well, we spoke with Freeman Health System OB/GYN Dr. Angela Langer to learn more about the safety of the vaccines. Dr. Langer says the vaccines are safe at any point during pregnancy. She says there is no greater risk of miscarriage from the vaccine.
Overall safe when they're actually doing studies on pregnant patients, because typically if we're not certain, we won't even enroll pregnant patients in that, much less children. So we are doing that. So I think that says a lot for the safety and what we think the safety value is of the vaccine.
Dr. Langer also says there has not been a documented case of a pregnant woman transmitting COVID-19 to her child in the womb. A U.S. district judge in Arkansas grants a preliminary injunction blocking the state's near-total abortion ban from going into effect while an ACLU lawsuit moves forward. That lawsuit, filed in May, challenges an act passed by the Arkansas General Assembly which bans abortions unless one is necessary to save the life of a woman. The ban was scheduled to take effect on July 28th. The ACLU says the law would have banned abortion in nearly every case and imposed stiff criminal penalties on doctors for providing care. The group says the judge's decision makes clear Arkansas's abortion ban is just as unconstitutional as other bans struck down in other states like Missouri, Kentucky, Alabama, Ohio, and Georgia. Checking in with Doug Hetty for a first look at the weather.
Hey, Dow, another warm day for us today, but still temperatures a little bit below where we should be for this time of the year, but we are really going to start to heat things up as we go through the next couple days. It's dry out there, nothing going on across the entire four-state area. You have to travel down across southern parts of Arkansas before you do find any showers or thunderstorms, but this little wave is going to get a little bit closer to us, which is going to give us some isolated thunderstorms as we head into Thursday afternoon. But besides that, we don't have any big storm systems brewing, which are going to head in our direction. Temps, it's warm. It's not bad. Most of us low to mid and then upper 80s once you get into our western counties, but we just don't have much in the way of humidity right now, so we don't have much of a heat index. Unfortunately, the humidity is going to go up as well over the next few days. We're going to drop back through the 80s, down into the 70s as we go into the overnight hours for us tonight. Of course, we're going to look at the heat increasing here in just a bit.
See you then. The owners of a now closed girls' boarding school in Humansville, Missouri, have settled 4 civil lawsuits alleging sexual and physical abuse. About 24 girls were removed from Circle of Hope Girls Ranch last year during an investigation into abuse allegations spanning several years. The owners now face 100 criminal charges, including statutory rape, sodomy, physical abuse, and neglect. A GoFundMe has been set up to help the owners and employees of Playmakers Sports Bar and Grill in Chanute, Kansas, which caught fire yesterday. The Chanute Fire Department says they responded to the fire after 5 p.m. and found smoke coming out of the second-story window and rear of the building. Firefighters stayed through the night to make sure that fire was out. The Kansas Fire Marshal's office is investigating that fire. Kansas Highway Patrol says a Florida woman died in a crash in Bourbon County. Authorities say 23-year-old Fabiana Inez Sierra of Miami, Florida, was driving south on Kansas Highway 7 when she drifted and crossed the center line and collided with another vehicle. One of Inez Sierra's passengers was injured, another was not. The driver of the other vehicle was not hurt. Coming up, first-year KCU Joplin students who are new to the area go on a guided tour of the city. Plus, surveyors and volunteers in Lawrence, Kansas search for the graves of 3 people lynched there more than a century ago. Future doctors studying in Joplin got a guided tour of the city. First-year student doctors at Kansas City University's Joplin campus were taken on a bus tour by the Joplin Area Chamber of Commerce. A majority of the students are new to the area, so the chamber wanted to help them get acquainted. Stops they made on that tour included at Wildcat Glades, the Empire Market District, and downtown Joplin.
It was interesting just to see a little bit more of the town. Me and my wife have been here for a couple weeks now, and we've dipped our toes in places, but to actually get to look around and find the places that we didn't know about and get to do another dive into places that we have found.
School officials say there are about 160 students in this incoming class. The Tokyo Olympics start this week, so the Crawford County Historical Museum put their own twist on the games. They hosted the Wacky Museum Olympics, which was a big water balloon and pool noodle fight between dozens of kids and the Pittsburgh State football team.
It really is a community effort to come out that really supports our local history and helps keep the museum doors open. Because what better way to learn about one's local history than a local museum?
You bet. The Historical Museum started doing Wacky Wednesdays annually 6 years ago. Surveyors, historians, and volunteers are looking for the graves of 3 people lynched in Lawrence, Kansas more than a century ago. The pandemic slowed their progress on the ground, but as Abby Dodge reports, it also allowed them to make an invaluable discovery.
I don't want anyone getting heat stroke.
It's not glamorous, but it's important.
They found this in some court records.
Isaac Smith, George Robertson, Pete Vinegar.
But having this is so valuable.
The pandemic pushed back the search for 3 black men lynched in 1882 by a white mob in Lawrence. But according to the Lawrence Journal-World, it did give a city clerk the time to stumble upon a plot map showing where the lynching victims are buried.
We were going to start this 2 years ago, and we didn't have this map at the time.
Volunteers are pitching in to keep the research moving.
I think it's a really big part of our history that we don't always talk about.
I've always been a little bit curious about this potter's field. It's just been kind of a mystery that I've never looked into.
Until now.
And you'll stop it right there.
Carrie Altenberg is a local historian who's been the driving force behind this search.
Now that it's actually physically happening, it's almost undescribable how happy I am.
We talked to the local chapter of the NAACP about the project last year. They say these lynchings weren't discussed for decades.
Out of fear, most of the black community didn't say much about it. It was more of a hush-hush.
In 2021, people are now organizing a way to memorialize these men and others buried in unmarked graves. Dr. Blair Schneider with the Kansas Geological Survey is leading the data collection.
My hope is that I can just do something that goes directly to the community that it serves.
Schneider says it might be hard to determine what's below the surface after years of decomposition.
But that's not a reason for not trying and for doing the best we can. We can't do more than we can do, but we can do all we can do. And that's what we should do. That's what we owe the folks out here.
Abolitionists were the original settlers in Lawrence. The city was at the center of the movement to make Kansas a free state. Later, a World War II veteran on a cross-country mission to help fellow veterans and frontline workers meets with the Kansas governor.
Plus, our temperatures are really going to heat up over the next few days. We're going to discuss that coming up. Well, it turned out to be another pretty good day for us today. All week long, we've had nice temperatures for mid to late July when we should be topping out 91, 92 degrees for this time of the year. Of course, it's been warm every day, but it hasn't been hot. We've been sitting mainly into the 80s. Look at the entire month, mainly into the 80s. We had 87 Sunday, 86 Monday, hair cooler yesterday, and then up to 87 today. We're still going to stay in the upper 80s over the next couple days, and then the 90s will return, you know, the way it's supposed to be for this time of the year. Let's go ahead and zoom in. So through the metro area from Neosho up to CJ, Pittsburgh 85, Miami is sitting at 87 degrees, and this is consistent across the entire viewing area from Bella Vista to Nevada. Yates Center at 85, Nowata is checking in at 85 degrees, and our humidity is not that bad. Heat indices are maybe a couple notches hotter the way it actually feels than our actual temperature, but the humidity will start to crank up a bit over the next couple days. Through the evening, we slide back through the 80s, slide back through the 70s. We'll bottom out at about 67, 68 degrees later on tonight, but nothing's going on here. We are dry across the region. You have to travel south, southern parts of Arkansas before you find any showers or thunderstorms, and this is due to weak little waves. See the spin, counterclockwise spin across Texas. This is going to get a little bit closer to us tomorrow, so it will fire off a few isolated pop-up thunderstorms during the afternoon. Not a big deal. Most of our weather is being dominated by the clockwise circulation, the high out across the western third of the country. Of course, you got the monsoons going. You get lightning strikes, you get wildfires. So our sunsets, they're a little oranger, and it's due to the smoke out to the west. Of course, it travels through the upper atmosphere across the entire country. For us tonight, upper 60s. Let's go through the daytime hours tomorrow. We'll heat up. You can see a couple random isolated thunderstorms pop up. This is mainly going to be in our southern counties. Most of you will end up staying dry. 67 in the morning, 85 by noon, high temp of 89, a south wind at about 5 to 10. Any thunderstorms that would fire up once we lose the heating of the day tomorrow night, we clear out, we drop into lower 70s, hair hotter on Friday, near 90 degrees. A few isolated thunderstorms. I think these will stay south of the region, so we'll keep it dry here as we head into Friday, Saturday, and then rain chances will start to return. Heat indices start to climb, lower 90s for us tomorrow. The way it actually feels, mid to upper 90s. By the time we head into Friday. So unfortunately, with the higher temperatures, the humidity is going to go up as well. Let's move into Saturday. Isolated thunderstorms mainly to our east, but I do think we'll start to get some pop-up thunderstorms Sunday into Monday. These are going to be hit and miss. A little better shot, at least coverage-wise, by the time we head into Monday and Tuesday. 89 tomorrow. A few pop-up storms, mainly in our southern counties. 90 on Friday, 92 Saturday, 94 on Sunday, and then we hold into the mid-90s through most of next week.
We are going to be wishing for cooler temps very soon.
Yeah,
I'm
the
sure.
humidity is going to be high as well.
All right, thanks, Doug. Still ahead, after a Kansas woman finds an urn of ashes on her property, the ashes are returned to family members. A 102-year-old World War II veteran was in Topeka yesterday on his nationwide journey to help his fellow vets and frontline workers. Sidney Walton dropped by the Kansas State House to meet Governor Laura Kelly. Governor Kelly was the 39th governor Walton has met in his quest to go through all 50 states. The governor presented Sidney with a few Kansas-oriented challenge coins, and she gave him a Kansas flag. Since May, Walton has been traveling cross-country with his son Paul in an effort to raise awareness for veterans and frontline nurses fighting COVID-19. And the New York native has enjoyed his time in the Sunflower State.
He's having a great time in Kansas, loves Kansas, and he wishes he could stay longer in Kansas, but we have to accelerate because at his advanced age, if we want to make our goal, we can't linger around.
Sidney and his son are heading to Oklahoma next. A Kansas woman found an urn with ashes on her property and was able to track down the family it belongs to. Reporter Isaac French was there for the reunion.
It's been almost 2 weeks since Sandra Lloyd first found Shirley Warren's urn in her backyard. After some research, phone calls, and an interview with 13 News, Lloyd's mission is complete, and Shirley Warren has found her way home.
I actually walked in and was looking at my phone and seen a post from WIBW and started playing it, and I just was in shock. I mean, because I'm going, Shirley Warren, that's my sister.
I didn't think it was going to happen last night that Catherine called me. I just figured it'd probably be a couple days. I was just hoping somebody would call me. And then when I saw her name show up, I was like, oh, wow, maybe this is it.
Southern had no idea that her sister's urn was even missing. She believed it was in possession of her nephew.
He had put her in storage because he needed a place for his things. Well, he came on some hard times and lost the storage unit. And she evidently, somebody decided that they didn't want her with them, and they didn't go to the trouble that Sandra did.
Luckily, it was Sandra Lloyd who found Warren's urn, and she refused to give up until it was returned to where it belongs.
I am relieved. I am really relieved. I'm actually a little bit tired today. I think just because of the relief of her getting somewhere where she needs to be with her family. It's just a wonderful feeling.
If it wasn't for you, we'd have never had her.
I'm so glad I could help you.
Yeah.
Southern says she and all of her siblings are very thankful for Lloyd and all of her hard work. We'll be right back. We take time now to honor a local veteran. William Kirby served in the U.S. Air Force from 1959 to 1963. The Greenfield, Missouri native was stationed in Turkey and Japan, and we salute William Kirby, a four-state hero. Here's a look at what's coming up tonight on KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. A Fort Scott artist and recovering alcoholic shows how his artwork helped him get his life back on track while beautifying his hometown. Also, the Biden administration is weighing whether to roll back more Trump-era policies at the southern border. And some middle school students invent a stroller attachment for a wheelchair to help a new dad. That and a lot more, of course, coming up tonight on KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. Hope you're enjoying this relatively cool weather at the moment because it's going to get hotter.
Yeah, the heat is really going to kick in over the next few days. Humidity not too bad for us tomorrow, but as the humidity increases, of course, the heat indices increase, and you can see our temperatures. They pop up into the mid-90s. A couple random pop-up storms tomorrow afternoon.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you back here at 10. Let's make it a great evening.